Welcome back to Sports Extra, everybody. I'm Reggie Chatman on a night where the Atlanta Falcons beat the Minnesota Vikings to get their first win of 2025. It was a game that had a whole lot of layers to it on both sides of the ball for the Dirty Birds, but a win is a win against a playoff team from a year ago. A win that Maria Martin was in the building for, good enough to join us now after talking with the Dirty Birds after the win. Maria, what was the feeling from inside that locker room after a massive win on the road?
Reggie, let me tell you, one of the first things that I had to figure out was, is it Bijan or Bijan? It's the never-ending debate, okay? I will tell you his mom, Lamore, prefers it to be Bijan, but Bijan prefers it to be Bijan. So we're going to put that to rest, but that was the first feeling in the locker room. But these guys are excited. Look, it's only week 2, but they know how big and important of a win this is. Sunday Night Football, this is as big as it gets. And remember, Minnesota was just coming off of a very good win on Monday Night Football, so working with a short week. They had their rookie quarterback, who is Offensive Player of the Week, J.J. McCarthy. He just had a baby this week. A lot of people think that there's dad power involved in that, but honestly, this Falcons defense made him look very pedestrian at times. Now, one thing that Minnesota is very notorious for is the atmosphere, and I can tell you, I've been here for a Final Four matchup, very different when there's a basketball court in the middle of US Bank Stadium. It is unbelievable how loud it is. It is deafening, so much so that the Falcons practiced it all week. They wanted to make sure silent count was there. They wanted to make sure that they could get the call in from the sideline. Bijan actually admitted that it was a little bit difficult in the beginning. It was really cool. You have an entire atmosphere full of people doing skull clapping, their hands over the head. You have the horn going. You have unbelievable deafening noise, so much so that pre-snap penalties were actually an issue for the Falcons in the beginning of this game. But once they settled into a rhythm, they were getting the calls in from the sideline at an appropriate time. Obviously, offensively, they did struggle a bit, but give the Vikings defense some credit. They did a lot of work in the offseason to really retool that interior defensive line. But we will talk all about the Falcons defense because, Reggie, they looked really good.
Yeah, I was about to say it's what everybody's going to want to talk about heading into this next week. We've been looking for a long time for a Falcons pass rush. 6 sacks on the day, 5 in the first half. What was the conversation like about that part of the defense that shined on a massive stage?
Oh man, they're so excited, Reggie, especially because 6 sacks total in the game. This is something that Falcons fans have been dreaming about for a long time. It's been the conversation ever since I brought John Abraham on the show. He is one of the best to ever wear a Falcons uniform, one of the best to ever get after a quarterback, and he's been begging for the same thing that all the Falcons fans have. And finally, all of the hard work by this front office over the last couple years really started to show its head tonight. That doesn't mean that there's some resurgence of this pass rush all of a sudden, but 6 sacks is a very promising thing, and it also came from a lot of different guys that are very young. You have some of these young rookies in the 2025 class, including, don't forget, several of the guys in the 2024 class, Ruka Rororo and Brandon Dorless, also getting after the quarterback today. Okay, so one thing about the pass rush that makes it a little bit more promising is that we knew that it was coming, right? When you have a new defensive coordinator in Jeff Ulbrich, who's been showing you a lot of different exotics, we saw how many different things he was willing to offer to the table in the Tampa game. He did the same thing in Minnesota, and keep in mind, there were 2 very critical pieces missing for this offensive line for the Vikings. They're down their starting center, Ryan Kelly. That happened in the middle of the game. Before the game, their starting left tackle, Christian Harrisaw, didn't even play, so that did give them 1-step advantage. But this is definitely where Bijan is now making all of us do some things on live television. The team is getting ready to go on the flight right now. Tyler Algier is about to walk by me. But no, it is a really good thing, and it's a promising thing when all of these rookies can get together and do great things. Tyler is happy about his game-winning or game-sealing touchdown as well. This team, very excited. Again, it's only week 2, Reggie, but this is just a sign of things to come.
I'll tell you, winning football really brings some great energy out from these guys. Michael Penix Jr. actually was behind you a little bit earlier waving as well, so you're kind of bringing everybody to our broadcast. Yeah. I do want to talk about this. James Pierce Jr., Jalen Walker both got their first sacks of the year. Xavier Watts, Billy Bowman were both very effective defensively as well. The rookies really showed out. What were the rookies talking about in their only second game action in the NFL and just how effective they really were?
Yeah, I better say the right thing because you got Terry Fontenot and Raheem Morris walking behind me right now. Look, this was a very good win for them, especially because I mentioned that they have been putting in a lot of work to get these rookies to do the right thing, right? When you draft 4 defensive rookies in 2025 and you start them immediately, talking about the secondary, and Billy Bowman Jr., who was questionable heading into the game, but he did play in this game. Clearly, he got his first career interception tonight. And then Xavier Watts, he was so close in the Tampa game on 2 different occasions. Finally, he got his first first NFL interception as well this evening. These rookies are showing that they are here to make some noise. Listen, there's something about me in primetime attendance for these games that the Falcons, they tend to win when I'm here. I'm just saying, maybe I'll take the credit, Reggie. But these guys, clearly, you can see the mood that they're in. They are happy because this is something very positive to build upon, especially when you already saw a very close loss to Tampa, now a big win against a good Vikings team. You're starting to see what this front office has been building over the last couple of years. This was a very big and good win in Minnesota, Reggie.
Well, look, I'll make sure that we get on X and let people know that it was all because of you that they got the win today. A very impressive win for the Falcons. Maria, thank you very much for joining us from Minneapolis.